Yo, what up? Welcome to another episode of the Oakland Warriors podcast. I'm Patrick, and we all just witnessed what I think was officially the worst loss of the season for your Golden State Warriors. It's been a season full of some pretty god-awful games, some pretty bad losses. There have been blowouts. There have been times where they've choked away a lead. This, though, is probably the worst one. And I'll tell you why. Yes, there were games like maybe the Knicks loss at home where they just came out flat, the Orlando game where they had a good lead and then they coughed it up in Orlando. Obviously, the Charlotte game that Steph missed where the whole team rallied and they were in a great position to win, but Draymond got the technical and got booted and all that other stuff. And then there was the 53-point blowout where they were down by 60 at one point against the Toronto Raptors. There was the last game before this, the loss to the Mavericks, where they got blown out again in a game that had playoff or play-in implications. It was like right there. If there's ever a time to focus, that was the game. But this game that had draft implications, that had playoff, play-in implications, they just didn't show up. Yes, I've said this whole season, the Minnesota Timberwolves are not as bad as they look, right? Karl Anthony Towns was injured for a big chunk of the beginning of the season. D'Angelo Russell was out. Anthony Edwards was a rookie who was just trying to figure out how to be an NBA player. So for me, I just wanted them to lose as many games early as possible because I had a feeling that if they were ever to be healthy, they were going to improve. At least improve enough to screw the Warriors' potential draft pick, the pick that they were going to get from Minnesota. That's top 3 protected. So if Minnesota was last, the Warriors would have potentially gotten the 4th or 5th pick. They can still get that, but now it opens up to maybe the 6th, 7th, or 8th pick. But, you're just out of potentially the Jalen Suggs, Jonathan Kuminga, Jalen Green sweepstakes. It is what it is. For the most part, you just got to say, hey, Minnesota, you're healthy, you got a new coach, you might have a new owner in Alex Rodriguez soon, and they're playing better. They're playing defense, so props to them. To me, that's something that is out of the Warriors' control, but what was in their control was this game tonight, right? So for all the ups and downs of the season, you would like to think at this point, with something actually on the line, something important, actually 2 things that are really important, that they would focus and show up. And they couldn't do it. They couldn't hold on or hang on in a game that, they're not really in danger of falling out of the play-in round. The Pelicans are 4 games back and they're kind of fading quickly. But if the Warriors want to climb higher up and maybe just play one play-in game and then get into the first round, then they should take these games seriously. And I'm sure the players are frustrated. I'm sure Steph, Draymond, I'm sure they're frustrated as hell because fans sure as hell are frustrated because what the fuck? Like, this is the second game in a row where it's like, this is an important game that you should try to win. And yes, they tried. They didn't get blown out like they did against the Mavericks, but they couldn't close it out. It's like you have Michael Mulder shooting an air ball 3 in crunch time. That just should not happen. Anyway, this is the worst loss because it is so far deep into the season. And even though they're not playing for much, they had something to play for and they ate shit. Ultimately, yeah, they'll get into the play-in round, like I said. But what really pisses me off is that they're really screwing the potential of the Minnesota draft pick. All the other teams are tanking. The Wolves are trying to win. I mean, Wolves fans, they assume, even though they have a 40% chance of keeping the pick, they assume because of their bad luck over the last decade and a half that they're not going to get it. And the players, they just want to win. Players don't think about draft picks. So they're climbing the standings while the Houstons of the league and Oklahoma City and Orlando and Detroit, they're tanking. But it is what it is. This is part of fandom, the ups and downs. And with this Warriors team, it's like, yeah, there's nothing really more to say or analyze about these guys. It's just whether or not they're going to show up and play well and give an effort and fight hard day in, day out this final stretch. They didn't fight that hard against the Mavericks. I mean, they barely fought. Tonight, they fought, but they just didn't play well. It's crazy to me that, like, the team from last season, they had 15 wins. And then right now they have, 31? So far, the Warriors are 16 games better with Steph and a much more motivated Draymond Green. The Warriors were god-awful last season, and 16 games is all that we're getting out of this. I don't put that on Steph. I don't put that on Draymond. I put that on the organization. I put that on their teammates. The highest expectations that people have for the Warriors are getting past the play-in round and into the first round and then losing to either the Suns or the Jazz. So we're not talking championship here. But man, have some pride. You know, when a game matters, beat a team that you should beat. I know Fitz and Glenn are on TV talking about how well the Timberwolves have been playing, and that's true. But still, they're not that great. You should still beat them. Ever since Steph has been in the league, whenever you see him play Minnesota, it's always about how Minnesota passed up on him in the 2009 draft. And now you see him and he just looks disheartened. Steph used to go in there and just punish them, right? And now it's like, oh, the tables are turned. That might change as quickly as next season when Klay comes back and maybe everything coalesces. But right now, this team, they are not fun to watch. This is not either a great timeout. They did not come to play. There was no joy in these buckets. Whatever stupid tagline, marketing phrase that they've used over the years, none of it is true. 9 more games. Let's gut it out. I know I'm going to try to. Anyway, that's another episode of the Oakland Warriors podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Feel free to hit me up on Twitter at Patrick Epino, Epino, or at Oakland Warriors. Check us out at oaklandwarriors.com, and be sure to tell your fellow Warrior fan friends to tune in and listen. The Oakland Warriors podcast is produced by National Film Society. That's it.
Music in this episode provided by Paper Sun. Special thanks to Paul Amardo for production support. See you next time, and go Dubs.